Hello, boys and girls. You are now watching Peter's Raw Recap. I just go and say that I'm indifferent about tonight's show. I'm indifferent about last week's show. I think there's a purgatory that's happening right now with the WWE. It's this influx of the new direction and how to handle not only the talent in the ring, but the talent outside the ring. Commentators, Vince involvement, Stephanie's involvement, Triple H involvement, everyone, like from the fucking injured people to the people in the ring to the refs. I feel like there's this major overhaul that's going on right now. There's this huge conversion, and it couldn't have happened at a better time, being that it's like the holiday season and the new year. We got the Royal Rumble coming up. It's a lot of shakeup going on. We're still dealing with like injuries, a lot of injuries, both on NXT and on the main roster. We got the crowning of a new top guy in Roman Reigns, and with there, everything, all the eggs in that basket. I see that there's going to be a shift in how the shows are going to be presented moving forward. And that they're the involvement of an authority figure. Now, since Vince McMahon has come out and been the thorn in Stone Cold's side, and the Mr. McMahon character, and the fact that the authority being either him or a general manager, and now his daughter and the Triple H, they've always ran the show. Like, there was no heat between opponents. That's what their matches. There was a storyline. If it involved a woman, if it involved property, if it involved the respect, if it trust, all these things. There was at once upon a time where, what's the word I want to use? Heat, like just rivalry was something that was developed organically and not just sanctioned by a governing party. And I feel like that's what's happening here. So to go into this Raw, like seriously, again, I'm indifferent because to say it's a good show would be a lie. To say it's a bad show would be a lie as well. It would be me just bitching and moaning. I would definitely say that they're trying. They're trying their fucking hardest to do something. Like, again, 3-4 weeks ago, they did like 2 surveys or something. I guess they asked a bunch of questions. I never got that survey, but listening to different podcasts and hearing different wrestling analysts talk about this survey that went around that they actually filled out about the changes. What did you like about the WWE? What you don't like about the WWE? And the fact that there was going to be these drastic changes. I think the first week when the thing got out, they didn't have enough time to really analyze what people liked, what didn't like, and we got a crappy show. But ever since 2 weeks ago, Vince McMahon showing up, and this week, I feel like they're putting those surveys to work. To put them to work, and especially with the whole authority thing, and I think that is out the door. And starting with the opening segment, well, we got we found out that Vince will be on the show tonight. He will be coming to Brooklyn because his job's not done to put over Roman Reigns. He just isn't. He was trying to do it here, and it's two struggles right now. It's like we got to put over Roman Reigns, and we got to take out the authority somehow. We have to make the authority look shaken, but at the same time, we have to put over Roman Reigns. So this entire opening segment, trying to balance the both, and it came off badly. It was just poorly executed. We got Vince McMahon and the crowd calling him out on not being able to hear him because he's old and he doesn't have the same, he doesn't have the same pipes as he did as a young man, and hollering at, Stone Cold. I mean, he's talking to Roman Reigns and he's really showing his elderness, his oldness, by the fact that he just doesn't have the pipes. So I don't know whether it's the mic, then maybe whoever done the microphone has got his fucking earful tonight by Vince McMahon by not turning him the fuck up. And at the same time, he didn't need to talk as much. You want to put over Roman Reigns, you need Roman Reigns to stand up for his own. You got to balance the conversation and not just know that Roman Reigns is a bad promo and you just out-talk him. Triple H does that. Fucking Stephanie McMahon does that. Everyone out-talks Roman Reigns. And I understand if you possibly put your foot in your mouth because you're the heel and you're going to look bad after a while. You're just not at all making sense. You're making yourself look bad from just the presentation part of it, and not the fact that you're a villain, if that makes sense. Well, anyway, he calls out Reigns. He addresses all that he's done. I own you. I own this place. I own these people. You hear Daniel Bryan chants, and then Vince addresses the Daniel Bryan chants by telling him to shut up, which is like, come on, why are you addressing the crowd? You're only going to make this worse. Now, again, oh man, Vince, this is not as, I would say, if I was to rank all the things that Vince has done over the years, I mean, outside of his performance versus Bret Hart, this is not his finest hour. But anyway, he addresses the crowd doing the Daniel Bryan chant. And then after he tries to shut them up, they start chanting CM Punk. Now Brooklyn's trying to beat Chicago, which is stupid. They're trying to hijack. It's a bunch of marks. People in Brooklyn all of a sudden are like these rabid fucking wrestling fans, which I go, man, it's just another reason why not to really like the guys in Brooklyn. Elitist. Just come, we see you as kind of fake to a certain degree, Brooklyn. And just take it down a notch. Again, you're not Philly and you're not Chicago. Hell, you're not even LA. At least LA has the decency to just basically respect the performers in the ring. You guys would I would say Brooklyn, this wasn't your finest hour either. I think at some point in the night I thought I heard some people trying to chant "We are awesome." It's like, there's times to go into business for yourself, and there's times to just shut the fuck up. And honestly, I think ultimately Brooklyn, y'all should just shut the fuck up altogether and enjoy the show. You guys are lucky enough to have a really cheap stadium that Vince can book shows for and bring y'all some good talent. How about you respect them? All right, that's not heel heat. You're shooting out. You're going into business for yourself, and that's just stupid. I never, ever, ever will vouch for that kind of fucking stupidity. Well, anyway, to finish off this opening segment, Vince comes off really bad, and it's what it is. He told him that he knew his fucking his father and his uncle, and how the Wild Samoans, how he basically ran them into the ground. You're one generation away from having a bone in your nose, just, and then I don't know why he went there, but he did. Again, not wanting to find. I'm not going to sit here and play PC police, but I remember him saying something like this before. I think he dusted off. He put some plague, some what the hell is that shit? Well, anyway, he fucking dust that shit off and brought it back out, the whole bone in the nose thing. And well, anyway, I think Roman Reigns shoves him. I think I looked down and missed, but it looked like Vince took a back bump. It looks like Roman Reigns, I think, shoved him. Maybe he shoved him. I don't know. I think he shoved him. Again, I wasn't looking. And he grabs his neck. He's like, "Oh, my neck, my neck, my neck, my neck and my back." And security comes down not security, police actually come down with Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie McMahon's like, arrest that motherfucker. And I guess he gets in the chief of police face. I guess that's the chief of police. And he's like, arrest that motherfucker. And she's yelling at him. He's like, yo, I'm not arresting him. And if you don't back the fuck up, I'm going to arrest your ass. And then Vince is like, how dare you talk to my daughter? And he gets all riled up and grabs the motherfucker cop by the collar. And the cop's like, whoa, all right, you're under arrest. And as he's reading him his rights, Roman Reigns is actually holding the microphone for the cop as he reads his rights. And then they walk him out to the car. You get Stephanie McMahon screaming bloody murder. And she's going to threaten to sue the whole police department. He gets put into a cop car. He gets driven the fuck off as Stephanie screams. Again, this had way more to do with the McMahons than Roman Reigns. Had way more to do. And I say this for Roman Reigns versus your performance last week. You didn't smile and smirk, and it looks like you were a little more focused. It looks like you were a little more not breaking the fourth wall. So that's a step towards something. I'm still not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. I'll probably never be a fan of Roman Reigns. It'll probably be like a Cena thing where the ass end of his career, I'll probably start to appreciate him. But right now, I'm just not digging it. Well, anyway, we get the first match of the night. We get Kevin Owens versus Neville. And it's definitely it's a continuance of last week's Slammy presentation of Neville winning the Breakout Star, Kevin Owens thinking he deserves to win the Breakout Star. So they get this match. And in fashion, and in, for what it's worth, Kevin Owens gets the jobber entrance. So I'm sitting here going, oh man, he gets the jobber entrance? This is going to be interesting. Neville comes out, he beats him in a matter of seconds. He reverses, he overhops a pop-up power bomb, and he rolls him up. And I think the match was only like 30 seconds long. So people are like, man, this is dumb. I'm like, wait a minute. I think there's something interesting that can go down here. Where it's like, it's a fluke win. Kevin Owens is frustrated, and he's letting his frustration get the best of him. Not only does he not have his belt, his IC belt, but he's also not winning a Slammy. I mean, his whole thing is I have to gather as many accomplishments as possible so I can, take care of my family. And he's taking his eye off the ball with that frustration. So he supposedly loses, he in heel fashion to Neville. And I'm like, okay, he's not getting beat by like, I don't know, Alberto Del Rio or like Sheamus in 30 seconds. He's getting beat by Neville, your breakout star, a guy that you want to see in a deserving feud against a guy who with great work rate and Kevin Owens, who is pushing his heel boundaries. Like he's really getting his heel up. And Neville is white meat babyface. So this is something that's good. This could possibly turn into a three-way. This could be that push that Neville deserves. Right? So when everyone's complaining about how short or how dumb this match was, Diva caliber time, Diva stopwatch, it wasn't allowed that much time for just the match. It expanded. It was more than the match. It was an entire block that it took, okay? Outside of the match, okay? So there's something brewing here. So we get Owens frustrated. He beats the living shit out of Neville. Beats the shit out of him. Just brutal, brutal. That's what we've been seeing from Kevin Owens. This is good stuff. He's beat the shit out of Neville. They go to commercial break. He comes back. He beats the shit out of him some more. And then Ambrose comes out for the save. Hey, good stuff. I think Neville has some revenge on his mind. He's probably, and the fact that he beat a guy who actually has a rematch for the IC belt, I think he's just as in line to compete with Owens for that IC #1 contendership. That's how this shit works recently. I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm just saying that's how things have been going in terms of who deserves the #1 contendership. And the way that 3 is the magic number for the WWE, and that a 3-on-3 feud, a triple threat can go into the Royal Rumble and it possibly still in the show. Owens, Ambrose, Neville. Do not do a full way with Dolph. I feel like Dolph just go the fuck away. He wasn't even on the show tonight. The way they just tossed him down the totem pole is just something that I'm really curious to why. And I guess him going after Nikki Bella, maybe that has something to do with it, like straight shoot shit, where they're like, fuck you, dude. How dare you go after Cena's old girl? Cena's girl. Well, but that's for another podcast. So Owen retreats in the stands. We find out that The Rock is coming to WrestleMania 32, a.k.a. WrestleMania Star, a.k.a. WrestleMania AT&T. There's going to be seats, people. You got The Rock coming. At what capacity? Because there's been speculation that his production company is keeping him out of the ring because of the match that he had with John Cena, and how it interfered with their business and making movies and doing the superhero shit with The Rock. So maybe they came to an agreement. At what capacity will The Rock be at WrestleMania? Still isn't enough for 100,000 seats. It's not enough. You need to give us something big. And the biggest thing you can give us, honestly, if we're not going to get Roman Reigns, Triple H, I think it's time to give us a rematch. Bring back some old blood for Rock, Triple H. They did a shoot not too long ago backstage at a Raw, or I think a SmackDown, that they could headline WrestleMania. So if it's not Rock and Triple H, make it Rock and Brock. Why not? I heard you throwing CM Punk $5 million to show up. So you guys are grabbing at straws. We get Becky Lynch in the back with JoJo, and Lynch is just basically testing out her cheap pop skills. She's talking about how she wants to prove herself and the shit that's happening with her, the relationship between her and Charlotte Flair, and her winning clean or her winning dirty or whatever. She's been beating the shit out of Brie Bella. Now she has a next step and trying to prove herself that she can win on her own merit against Sasha Banks. Now, I'll just go ahead and nip this in the bud. Sasha Banks comes out and she's getting that heel heat because she's from Boston. She starts talking shit about fucking Brooklyn. And I love how Naomi called the place a dump. You don't hear that too much anymore. That the city that you're in is a dump. That should be the MO almost every other week, that I'm this dump. That's a simple, I guess, elementary heel tactic to talk shit about where you're at by calling it a dump. Naomi did it. I couldn't tell you the last time I heard a place described as a dump on the WWE. Well, anyway, this match itself is about Lynch. We want Sasha chance, and this was been buzzing around, and I think Noel Foley posted some shit about the crowd, the Brooklyn crowd. Now, not their proudest moment either, making Sasha Banks look bad by, we're always chanting, well, they're always chanting, the WWE universe is always chanting, we want Sasha. You get Sasha in this match, and you get, this is boring chants. This is boring chants. Now, again, Brooklyn, shame on you, but at the same time, You have a point. And my only thing is this. What's boring about this Divas match is that there was no stakes. No stakes whatsoever. When all the matches that we've seen of Sasha Banks, a lot of people got their first taste glimpse of Sasha Banks because there was something on the line. And that those big matches in themselves was something that fucking wowed you because there was stakes. We want Sasha to be a badass and be a badass either going after the belt or defending it. You know? This match, okay, it's long. Both of these women have talent. But it reminds me of just, the cruiserweight division in the WCW. Where you had like Guerrero and fucking Benoit and Jericho, little guys that would just put on these hella shows, but they had nothing. They had nothing to show for it. And anytime you thought they were going to get taken serious, you had somebody from the NWO just put them in their place. Just some big guy just squash them. Which, understandably so because they're the little guys, but like, come to find out, they were part of a movement that revolutionized how we view wrestling even today. Because they weren't big and muscular, they didn't have the look, that they were actually world champions. They could be world champions. They could draw money. They could win fanship. And it's like that with Sasha Banks. We don't want just Sasha Banks. We want her on top. We want her, as described as somebody I read, under the skin of the opponent that she's going up against. But like the stakes gotta be high. The stakes have to be high. Or yes, if we get 8 to 12 minute Divas matches where there's nothing at stake, no belt, no contendership, no nothing, then yes, we're going to fucking sit on our hands. And it's not our fault. We're conditioned to watch short Divas matches as long as the women's and Divas division as it has existed in the WWE. Well, overnight was supposed to be like, okay, we went from a 30-second match to like a 12-minute barn burner. Like, no, unless you fucking put the stakes there. And I know I sound like I'm beating a fucking dead horse, but that's the point I want to make. Now, take this match. This has nothing to do with Sasha Banks because the storyline is the turning of Becky Lynch. The storyline between her and Charlotte Flair is like, look, you got to fucking look out for yourself. These cheap wins are wins. Go along with the program or you're going to find your ass, in the cold. You got Team Bad doing anything and everything possible to put themselves in to get that cheap win for Sasha Banks. And she does win with the help of Naomi and the help of Tamina. And like Becky is 3 against 1. And she loses. And to the point, and why I see the storyline going, at some point she's going to realize that Flair's logic, winning, getting that W by hook or crook is the way to go. Because no one is trying to get that L. You get that L, you don't feed your family. So you need to change your philosophy and go along with the program. And this whole storyline is all about Becky Lynch and her basically go along with the program with Charlotte Flair and having the new Flair-Becky dynamic be one that they are hook and crooking it to getting victories. In the vein of the great one. Well, not the great one. The high flying, the jet flying son of a gun. And Ric Flair, dirtiest player in the game. So yeah, Banks rolls her ass up with a handful of tights and gets the victory. We get a little thing where Vince has mugshots. He has his mugshots taken, and then they show it. He looks like Charlie Sheen. That looked pretty fucking weird. And then you got Young on the outside of the police station. Like all of a sudden she's all like investigative reporter now, standing outside a fucking precinct waiting for Vince McMahon to come out. Not a good look. And one thing about this whole thing, and I'll get to it to the end. But anyway, New Day promo, blah, blah, blah. Kalisto versus Kofi. Kalisto wins because you know what? Why not? Why the fuck not? Right at the very end of the Kalisto match, before he got the pin, the Woods and Big E are actually trying to distract the match, and Sin Cara comes over and takes him out. So after the Kalisto match, Woods calls out Sin Cara, and you would think that she's about to challenge because he's taking off his stuff. He's like, payback's going to be a Big E. You're going to face Big E. Big E versus Sin Cara. There's this one bad spill. I always get scared when on the apron they do stuff like that. Big E sweeps the leg of Sin Cara on the apron, and there's a bad spill. I mean, I'm sitting down, and I'm like, ooh. The look on my face was like, oh, that did not look good, because he came down on his shoulder and his elbow. For what they're tough guys. For what I could take, it looked more like a funny bone incident. Like, good, his funny bone got to be in agony, but it's his shoulder. So, wants to see what's going to happen if that was an actual shoot injury. But it looked bad. Even, you can't, we all understand that this is sports entertainment, and there's certain bumps that come off looking bad, that is just part of the show. But then there are some bumps that look really bad, and that was one of them. At the end, we get Sin Cara doing like a big senton, rolling senton from the second buckle. That looked pretty cool, but he still goes down to the Big E because the rest of the New Day beat up on Kalisto as a distraction, and boom, he goes down in flames to the big end, and then that's how that worked. That's how that played out. Again, the whole, I guess the Lucha Dragon versus the New Day. There's got to be a payoff at some point for the Lucha Dragons. They just keep getting their asses handed to them, and it's getting tired. This feud is getting tired. The New Day aren't as fresh as they used to be. Again, so something needs to happen. Something needs to happen. And again, Kalisto, it's all about Kalisto right now. It's all about Kalisto. And basically Woods too, because I think Woods is the one guy who's kind of shining in the New Day more than Big E, more than Kofi as a personality. So I would like to see him get some focus. If we can actually get like a one-on-one feud between Woods and Kalisto, I think that would be really fun. Miz TV and this whole thing, he basically wants to put his hat into the ring of the Royal Rumble. But before he can, he gets interrupted by a burping Ryback, Goldust, Zack Ryder, R-Truth, and his new role as a person who's completely out of place, who thinks other things are going on. He shows up thinking that he's trying to get his Slammy for Wrestler of the Year, Superstar of the Year. That's his new role. And that was what he won his Slammy on. The LOL moment of not being in the ladder match. This is the same thing. Basically, whatever. It was funny. He gets interrupted by Slater, and then he also gets interrupted by the return of the Big Show. A guy who as soon as I come out, I go, uh-oh, this is not going to be good, because the crowd is just like, boo, this motherfucker, really? And it happens. He clears out the ring. He fucking takes out everybody. There's one little spot where R-Truth is like, no, don't hit me, dude. He knocks himself out. But then he catches a choke slam, and then Ryback in the corner, and then he takes out Ryback, and he's like, fuck y'all, I'm not retiring. I'm going to win the championship because I am getting in the Royal Rumble. He's the first person to announce his name in the hat of the Royal Rumble. He interrupts Miz's saying that he's going to win the Royal Rumble by saying that he's going to win the Royal Rumble, the Big Show. And at this point, as many times as they flip the Big Show back and forth, with this whole Big Show, please retire thing that's happening right now with the Big Show, I don't see him going back to babyface anytime soon. He's not going to be allowed to go babyface. People are really sick of seeing Big Show in this dominant sort of, for him to just show up and just clear out the ring. I mean, poor guy like Ryback don't stand a chance. He gets his ass thrown out the ring. Well, anyway, during the commercial break, Ryback calls out the Big Show, right? And the Big Show comes back out, and I guess we get a match. We get a fucking match. And it ends with the Big Show taking a powder. And not only did he take a powder, he just walks the fuck off. So I guess we got a new feud between Ryback and Big Show. I think this maybe be the third or fourth feud between the two of them. I guess the payoff, you could try to get that payoff again of putting him in the fucking shell shock. But he gets the count out victory. Ryback does. We get Ambrose and the Usos versus the League of Jobbers. And this is a 3-on-2 because this is, if you check out Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, Jake loves the new role of Barrett. Barrett is just a guy who just doesn't get any contact with anybody. He's getting a check just being out there and running. And that's what happened in this match. He doesn't get into the ring. He doesn't get anywhere close to physicality. So it's basically like a 3-on-2. The Usos and the Ambrose versus Sheamus and Rusev. And the League of Jobbers win. They pull it off. Just Rusev and fucking Sheamus. They pull it off. I get it. It's like a cartoon, You just have these bad guys just fuck shit up until the very end and they get showed up, and that's what happens. But that's only part of the story, because the hard fought 3-on-2 against the League of Jobbers, you have a wiped out Ambrose who's kind of sitting and sulking, reeling in his pain. And then all of a sudden, sorry about that. And all of a sudden, sorry about that, guys. Kevin Owens shows up to fuck up. I mean, he fucks up Ambrose bad, which results into him dropping him through the announce table and walking off like the badass that he is. And that's that. I mean, again, he wants his belt back, so he's getting a bunch of heel heat, and it works. It works. I'm proud of this. This whole Kevin Owens storyline is one of the shining moments of this what's been going over the past 3 weeks. Vince makes bell, and he tells Young, who's out there waiting, to get out of his face. I didn't like this so much because this is your company. I think I would appreciate it that out of all the paparazzi and people waiting out there to talk to him, that's his own company standing out there waiting to talk to him. Right? Walk past the other journalists, whether it's CNN, TMZ, ABC, NBC, don't matter. Whoever the fuck's out there, right? Just walk past them and go to your own company because they're important. They're more important than the other news sources, the bigger news sources. They're looking at Renee Young like, who are you? It's like, hey, you see this W? I work for him. So if there's anybody in line that can talk to this guy, it should be me. But they I guess, whatever. That's nitpicking. They could have done something where he sat and actually said something to her to put to shame and to revere the importance of the WWE, to say other news sources. The return of John Cena. So I'm excited that John Cena's back actually. And since his sabbatical, he's been doing a bunch of cool shit, right? And he's in a position right now where it's like, all right, I can put up with you because you you have become the most exciting part of the show, right? And with the U.S. Open Challenge and you're savvy, you're speak. Again, I'm no fan. I'm just saying I just highly appreciate this guy now, because in the end it's all about him, and I feel like we've been suckered into this thing where it's like he's still Vince McMahon's guy. As much as you like to think this, Reigns and all this stuff, it's still Cena. It's still all about Cena. And he cuts a really good promo. John Cena sucks. I love how he dances and stuff. But when his music, John Cena sucks. He's dancing. I love it. He cuts a promo. He turns the crowd, like nobody you ever know. Fucking, he's going against ADR, right? It wasn't supposed to be for the belt. It wasn't a title match. But Cena wants a shot at the belt. So the League of Jobbers come out. And Del Rio, he cuts a promo, and it's like a pretty decent promo because he's heated, he's mad, they're going back and forth. But you know what? In Cena fashion, he has to bury the living shit out of him. You won a title, you lost your manhood. Like, okay, Cena, you lost. You got to be humbled to a certain degree, but nope. That's not how Cena works. And this is one of the reasons why we don't like Cena, because you shrug off things like it doesn't matter. Yes, you lost your belt. We haven't seen you in 6-7 weeks, man. And now you come out and you're talking as if the cards are in your deck. The cards aren't in your deck. This happened just 2 weeks ago with Sheamus and Roman Reigns, where you got the fucking heel who's dumb enough to put up their title to a guy who doesn't hold the cards in their favor, right? It's like the same thing. Cena talks fucking ADR into putting up his belt, and it just blows me away. Because at first, Del was like, "I fucking fight for this belt. Fuck you. Who are you to want this belt?" Even though he deserves a rematch. But like, it's still at the call of either the authority. The authority's nowhere around. No one can book anything now. It's at the discretion of Del Rio, almost basically. It's at the discretion of Del Rio, and he gets suckered into defending it. Now, does this count as his rematch? That's the burning question now. Does this count as his rematch? Even though what made the Cena Open Challenge special is that he went up against guys that were high flyers, guys who got off the ground. Neville, or with high work rate. How about that? Whether it was Neville, whether it was Owens, whether it was Zayn, a couple, whether it was a couple of people, that just. You were just like, okay, who's going to go into the ring with him with this great work rate? And now, Del Rio has a good work rate, but he works in the sports entertainment fashion. I mean, he's like the ideal sports entertainment fighter. It's ground and pound. It's not a lot of high flyer, nothing. It's just kicks and technical and all that stuff. So you don't get this exciting match or a match that can bring out the best in Cena. You just get these two brutes kind of just moving at a very slow, steady, ground and pound pace, to where, I guess it took a lot of energy out of the crowd because you're so used to, again, high work rate, high motor competitors, and now you just got Del Rio. It gets interesting at the very end. Oh, by the way, Cena turns thugonomics. He's like, "Weird son, what's up, son? Yeah, we're in the home of B.I.G. Jay-Z, son." Yes, okay, all right, we get it. But it gets interesting because right at the very end, there's a ref bump, a bad one too. He fucking gets fucking cleared out, and Cena puts Del Rio in the STF. ADR taps, but there's no ref to be found. Rusev shows up. He kicks the shit out of Cena. Sheamus tosses the ref in for the count. He kicks out. There's a mist of chaos because the League of Nations is trying their best to get the win for Del Rio. But Cena outsmarts him a little bit. Bro kick to Rusev by mistake. And then he drops Sheamus with the AA. And then he hits, what is it? Oh, yeah. But then he gets, because of the distraction, ADR gets the advantage. And he kicks him in the face. He does that kick to the face how he won the belt. But the ref is counting so slow because he's still reeling from the bump that he took that Cena kicks out. And then he hits the AA. He goes for the pin. The League of Jobbers come in, creates the DQ. You get a bro kick to Cena, and then we don't see him anymore. We get a attempted save by the Usos. The League of Jobbers take them out. And then lo and fucking behold, Roman Reigns shows up and just clears everybody the fuck out. I mean, everybody. Gotta go. And as much damage as the League of Jobbers have been putting on everybody during the whole show, it's one guy. One fucking guy. His name is Roman Reigns. And he single-handedly just destroys everybody. All right? And it's basically the young lion, right? The young lion. And I still think this is more about Cena. Now, I don't get it twisted. This is still about Cena, right? The young lion shows up to basically show the old lion that he's basically the king of the jungle. That's what I saw this as, because we didn't see Cena no more. It was like out with the old, in with the new. That's what it looked like. But we shall soon see how this turns out. Vince McMahon comes out as, Roman Reigns is standing tall, and he's like, I'm back, you asshole, and you're going to lose that belt. And you're going to lose your belt to Sheamus next week in a championship match. Wow. So we got a heavyweight championship match next fucking Monday against Sheamus. And guess who's the guest referee? Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So we get a third straight week of the boss. We get another title match. That's 2 title matches in 3 weeks. World title matches. We got a title change. And now not only do we get Vince McMahon, he's going to be in the match. Ain't that some crazy shit? And I know I've been talking forever. I know it seems like I've been talking forever. Just detailed stuff. That's why you want to watch this. Because it's one thing for me to just review this shit and just say, hey, this happened. You want me to put my input as well. And I apologize for the ringing of the phone. I'm reading my notes from my phone. I always read my notes from my phone. But people sometimes send me texts, or I get like a alert on Snapchat, or not too many times I get a phone call, but I get a phone call right then. So for those, and it threw me off for a hot second. I always got to regather my thoughts whenever shit like that happens. So I apologize. I do apologize. But thank you for checking out Peter's Raw Recap. Hit the subscription button below. You get 3 things. You get the New Day podcast, hopefully returning next week. You get Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. That's me and Jake. We discuss between the two of us our views on how we see Monday Night Raw and other wrestling-related topics and promotions. And you got Peter Talks SmackDown. Peter Talks SmackDown. And that's about it. Hit the subscription button below. Oh, yeah, by the way, Peter's Raw Recap is only YouTube. It's YouTube only. But the rest are on Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Podbean. But Peter's Raw Recap, strictly. And then there's Peter's Specials. And if you haven't yet and you're interested, go and check out my NXT London review. Also check out my ROH Final Battle review. Yeah, check that shit out. Yeah. And then if you want to, you can also check out last week's Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. It's episode 71. This week will be 72. So yeah, I will see you guys next time for Peter Talks SmackDown. You can hit me up on Twitter, PJTW Central or Ellen Japanese. I actually posted from Ellen Japanese tonight. So LINJAPANESE. That's Ellen Japanese. You can hit me up on either of those two on Twitter. Again, comment below, like, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And yeah, thanks so much for checking this shit out. You've been checking out Peter's Raw Recap, and I will see you for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling this Wednesday. Watch out for those foreign objects. Biatch.